Good time of day, whatever time of day it is to you, to all of our beautiful people. Greek always telling everybody that it's his beautiful people too. So we are now our beautiful people on Preek. It is your beautiful people, because you know why? We do have absolutely beautiful people surrounding us. What happened to Pride? I thought he was there. He came on.
Odie's back.
We've got some good surprises for everybody.
OJ,
Great. We've got a lot going on. No news yet, but we do have some things to look forward to. And right now, in the background, I want to bring on that one Odinato who's here with us. But how about that special guest that we have, Diogenes?
Oh, right on.
What's up?
Gio?
That is like a big surprise for everybody. Anytime Diogenes is involved. How are you, Dio?
I'm good, man. How are you?
And there goes that one Crypto Pride as well. How you doing, brother?
What's going on?
Hey, Dio, since you're on and you did make it, I wanted to ask you, because there is some concern about insolvency. You had mentioned something about this. And I wanted to know why you might have that feeling, because I'm curious about it. What do you think about this?
I think that we're in a spot right now because of other people's like actions and irresponsibility and outright criminality. Like there's like a huge focus on crypto, and that focus is going to come at anything that is like promising things that are out of the ordinary, promising alternative structures to like normal banking interest. And FTX really like kind of did that in more than one way with all of their connections politically, with all of Sam Bankman-Fried's connections politically, and all of his like, he's got his finger in every pie, and so, or had his finger in every pie, and now all the fingers might be in him. But the problem then becomes like, well, let's look at the reality of what Safex is promising, right? We've got something that's promising not 2% a year, but 2% a day for 6 months, almost 2.1% a day for 6 months, and then 38% a year, which is like in general, like that's decent trader gets that over the course of the year by actively trading their accounts. Right, 38% is not something that you just like set it and forget it and get. So, but then they're like, that's one of the things that people don't really realize is like it's not 38% in dollars. It's
in dollars, right?
It's 38% in
Safex
coins, right? And the like that is a problem. And what I mean by that is like that's that. Like this, if we know this, right? Like you and I and all five of us here know this, right? People who are invested in these things and have been invested in these kinds of like algorithmic type of coins know this, but people who haven't don't. And so when they see 38%, they see 38% of dollars, and it's not. So like, and then on top of that, like, okay, like we're gonna run into these problems, and we have to start thinking this way. Like the clarity that we're all used to in DeFi is like, if anybody tells us anything, it feels like clarity. But that's not the case in like in the normal finance world, where like everything has to be spelled out, and it has to be specific, and it has to be like. So all of that information, if it's going to be like taken well, has to be spelled out clearly. And like we're at a point now where like something big is going to launch. Like we're going to launch the blockchain.
Yeah.
And
Do you think we can help with that though, Odie? I mean, like we've got Greek, we've got Pride, Odinato, I'm here. You are here. Yesterday, huge live shot, like damn near 100 people the entire time watching what you had to say. We're here.
yeah,
We're
we
going to
can
make sure that
we
people
can
understand what it is that your concern is could be solved. I mean, it's not going to be entirely solved. I understand there's going to be a lot of people out there that don't get it. They're going to expect that in dollars. They're going to expect other things that are not clear to them to happen. But we're going to be here every single day to make sure that people understand what this is as much as we possibly can in its entirety, even if it doesn't get to everybody. But we can help, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like, that's what we're doing. But also, the onus legally until we're actually incorporated as a DAO, which is another whole thing, which
Yeah.
again, I would like to say, like, I love DAOs, right? Like, I love the idea of DAOs, but there are problems. And like the onus of this falls on the Safex team, right? Legally, like they can't present one thing and give another legally, like, and then that puts us all at risk. So like we have to like we can do a lot, and we do a lot, like when we're educating the community or we're talking about things, but then also like these things have to be spelled out in clear words by the Safex team. Undoubtedly, especially if we get into a DAO, because if we're in a DAO, then we're all responsible for it, unless and it has to, unless it's legally incorporated as a corporation that operates through a smart contract. Like we're in a general partnership, and if we're in a general partnership, then according to like the Federal Trades Commission and or the like DAOs have unlimited liability for every member, which means that if something goes wrong at the top, like we're all in trouble. So like that's a thing that we have to like look at. Like these are, and it's really close to launch day. Like it's like 3 weeks away. So like the concerns about that. There's lots of concerns that I'm hearing about, like a whole bunch of different stuff, and it's like, okay, well, we need to have time. We need to give time to make this happen correctly, but also like like it's no surprise that people are anxious and asking questions.
Yeah.
Right. And
can I ask you this though, with our DAO, isn't it safe to assume though that we are a little bit different than your typical DAO? We are going to be leaning on Brian Legend. He is going to be the CEO. We are going to look to him for leadership. It's not going to be leaderless, and he's going to have to make some hard decisions sometimes. And we can expect that he will do the right thing when it comes to anything nefarious or the things that you're talking about. Those concerns that you have, don't you expect that because of Brian Legend and his truthfulness, his openness, his transparency, that we can expect that these things could be solved just by it stopping at that buck? The buck stops there.
Not legally.
Not legally.
I mean, like for us, yeah, like between us, is because essentially a DAO is a gentleman's agreement. Mm-hmm. Like unless it's finalized and like specifically drawn up with like and filed with whoever is like whatever governing body around it, like it's just a gentleman's agreement. So like, and then that becomes a problem. Like it's not uncommon. I mean, like not even like what was it, like I think it was like some sort of high yield stable coin
mm-hmm. Oh no,
I think it was like maybe about 4 or 5 months ago, maybe 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. Somebody put up a and this was dumb on their part, but they put up a smart contract. They tied this treasury to governance through a smart contract, and inside of the treasury, the governance, one of the governance things was like someone had put up a proposal to send money to Ukraine for refugees, right? And hidden in that contract was also kind of a honeypot that took the entire treasury.
Gosh.
And it was like something like $37 million.
Oh my goodness.
So like it's not just that, like, like this isn't like, it's not just, and then they had to rebuild the entire thing, and people had to like, they had to ask to have the like assets frozen, and then there was like then you run into a problem, especially with a blockchain treasury. If you have to do something like that, then you have to fork the entire thing, right? Like this isn't like when you're talking about a DAO at a base level on a layer one, right? Like you're talking about something that's really innovative, but also very risky, and that risk has to be thought out clearly. And in my mind, I just don't see. I just don't see that happening now. Like I could see it like transitioning over the next 6 months, over the APY period, and getting that all dialed in. Because one, we don't know how we know how the blockchain is going to behave based off of what we've done, but we don't know what's going to happen with all of the volume, if there's going to be the right amount of volume. Like there's a lot of questions. So like we have to, like, I think it's just like have to be cautious. We have to be like, we have to think about like the risk versus reward, and like the level of involvement. And I really don't, I'm not one of those people who thinks that like the Safuu community should have much say at all in the treasury, right? Like
just a little, very bit, like just a little bit. I agree with you on that.
Like
we don't have that kind of experience.
Like that's, I don't think many of us do.
Right.
Like I've sat on a multi-sig. The multi-sig I sat on had 10 million in stables, right? Like the first time I ever pushed a button to like move $10 million was really crazy. Like I'd never, I hadn't made a lot of money up until that point ever. And so like just being able to sit there and be like, when I push this, it's going to move a lot of money that I've never seen in my life.
Right.
So like, like just pushing the button on something like that is something you have to get used to. And there's not a lot of people, I would think, in Safuu that has that kind of thing. Like if you have a lot of money, you're not moving, okay, so like I just did the calculations before I came on, like 75 million coins, Safuu coins, rebase at like 1.59, let's just say 1.6 million coins a day. Let's multiply that out to 9 by 9, because that's all we know right now. But let's say it's the first day, that day's rebases is worth $14.5 million. Like that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I was confused by that too when that came out, because I didn't realize that the 75 million that the Treasury holds, and I'm not saying this because I have any concern about the Treasury holding it. That's not the reason why. I'm talking about specifically the 75 million, right, Preek? That was supposed to, as far as I knew, that was supposed to come out on day one, not start now and then rebase it to day one, because that's like 250 million coins by the time it's said and done, Dio. Preek, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to rebase from now. I thought, day one, that would be 75 million starting in the Treasury. That could very well be the case. We don't know a lot of information. There was that comment that said, it might be rebasing, but there's still a lot of unknowns, and I need to really, it will be nice to hear from Brian and get a lot of answers, and then we could start like really digging deep into this.
From what I know, Preek, he is going to do something. He's going to do something before the end of the year, which is this, the next 2 weeks, we should be hearing from Brian and Dio. Maybe we can get some of these questions answered. But I know a lot of people love seeing you on the channel anytime they get to see you, like even Pride and Odinato. Yeah. Do you guys want to ask Dio anything? I mean, he's right here for you. Pride.
I don't have no questions off the top of my head. I just was going back to you put a post in Discord a long time ago on what do you think like the opening price would be? According to like, well, I think like 75 million. I can't remember what it was. I think you said $300. Did you still stick with that?
After doing a ton of like modeling and stuff,
This is all
trying.
guessing, by the way, just guessing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
after doing a ton of modeling and stuff, like, and looking at how, like, I think it's possible if we have the volume and the LP is right, we can get up to, I don't know how to explain this. Okay, so volume is really important with
Right.
Safuu and Safuu X,
Yeah,
right?
the most
When it,
important. Yeah.
yeah, when it was rebasing, because once the volume drops off, it's almost immediate that the price drops, and it has nothing to do with people selling necessarily. It just has to do with like, well, there's more coins the next day. So every 15 minutes, there's
Mhm.
more coins, and so the 15-minute bar is really important. And how much you burn that 15 minutes, like, kind of offsets the next 15 minutes and the next 15 minutes. So the total cumulative for the day is really important for the next, like, few days.
Yeah.
Because it's catching up. And it's catching up at 2% a day. So, like, in the beginning, in the first few days, like, a ton of volume can pump the price, astronomically if the LP is right and people buy. That starts to wane once it gets about 30 days in, and then about 60 days in, it's kind of a point of no return for the price going up until the
Fixed flex.
APY, yeah, the APY switches. So
Mhm.
the
I like to just call it the promotional period until that ends. Yeah.
yeah, the promotional period ends, then that's when there's kind of a reset. And so, like, that first 60 days, like the first 30 days is when you're going to see if the price high. But that doesn't mean anything really about profit, because price and token count are the profit, and that's why I've been kind of focusing more on profit lately. There's a good chance we could get up really high in price, but if it happens in the first 2 days, then that's not really profitable. Like, so,
Right.
like, and if we have, after about 60 days, it takes billions in volume per day to, like, make the price stay stable,
Stable.
right?
Meaning it
Like,
doesn't go down. I mean, it needs to be a lot more than 2.9%, 0.09% in
yeah,
gains for it to, and a lot more. We're looking like at 10% per day of it going up for it to negate that 2.09%, right?
yeah, because you're buying out of the LP, and the LP is rebasing. If the LP rebases on Safex like it does on Safuu, like, you're buying out of the LP is rebasing. You're creating a sort of shortage in the LP versus the, like, other token. So, there's a lot of different things that could happen. And right now it's just a lot of unknowns in that place. But I would say that, like, the way that I've been calculating it lately, just to be ultra conservative, is that, like, if everything increases $1 per token every day, for the first, like, 30 days, we could see a price of $40-$60 pretty easily. But that is going to take volume. And I've been doing all my calculations, thinking that the 75 million would be proportionally cut to the as LP because it had been told to us that it was LP, not that it was in the treasury, that it was for sale, right? So that shift from LP to treasury holdings makes a big difference. I don't know what's in the LP now. Like, I don't know, like, all my calculations are off,
Yes.
and is
Yeah.
potentially, a fire pit of, instead of it being 98.5%, it's like 78.81%. So that it changes a lot of stuff, and it depends on how they're going to use that, because if a lot of that is held out, and not used, then it does support the price. But at the same time, like, you start selling anything from those 75 million in the treasury, which they are going to need to, it's going to affect the price pretty substantially. So like, there's a lot of unknown variables. I'm waiting for Brian to talk about more about this, right? Like, I'm waiting for a lot of, I'm waiting for like to hear about like what kind of volume we can expect, if there are any CEXs that we're on, and what those might be, who those might be, how much of that is like accessible in the US, because the US is like 40% of Safuu. US holders are 40% of Safuu. If we're not able to get access to that here, and other people are, which is, it's great for growing it's great for growing the larger like world, but 40% of the customer base is in the US. So like, there's a lot of stuff that's got to, there's a lot of like kind of, let's say, macroeconomic stuff that we have to look at.
Well, you say we had multiple sexes, so hopefully that'll work out.
Yeah, one of the things that I was talking about yesterday on the live that I had in the morning, and I was speaking with Pride about it, was the possibility of it being crypto.com. What do you think about that? Pride, you put out a video about it today, right?
Yeah.
That's an interesting proposition. I hadn't really thought about it. I've just been kind of waiting, because I try to stick with the numbers, because I like to have like a more like dead realistic view of things.
Yeah, we were just guessing. That's all.
Yeah, like crypto.com would be pretty stellar. It would be a great off ramp too.
What is it? Pride, you said it's 70 million users? 70 million?
Yeah, 70 million plus.
70 million plus users with access to a new blockchain would be incredible. I mean, like it would pretty much,
fact that they would offer that card too, so that we could spend Safuu X.
Right.
That's the reason why I said it would be a combination. I'm thinking, and Pride, we're thinking that announcement is going to be that one that he's talking about. We're just a guess, everybody. Nobody knows anything. I don't have any inside information. Right?
Right.
I mean, like, go ahead.
Crypto.com, if I may, that is beyond huge, because for those that aren't in the States, you may or may not be aware, crypto.com is mainstream. They are really trying to lead the way in being a mainstream cryptocurrency and blockchain, because they have their own stadium. Well, they however you want to say it, they sponsor who is it in Las Vegas Raiders, right?
Oh, the Lakers.
Staples.com, the Staples Center is now the crypto.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that too.
Arena,
I mean,
right?
I remember when I went to Vegas a couple of years ago, the first year that they had been the official sponsor or whatever of the Vegas Stadium, and I was like, what the hell is crypto.com? Because I wasn't really into crypto at that point. I'd started mining a little bit, but yeah, if we got crypto.com, like Dio said, that would be.
Yeah, it's pretty much also one of, there's crypto.com and there's Coinbase that are the only ones that really left in the United States that you can actually trade on. Because Gemini's insolvent, like Binance.us has like pretty much no traction. They won't allow Binance itself. So all you got really left now is Coinbase and crypto.com. And so like that, crypto.com would be huge. Who knows, right? Like I'm worried, like I know that we probably won't get on. I'm not going to say we can't, but Coinbase probably won't for a while, because they only work with like things that are registered in New York, because they want to have full coverage in the United States. So like there are things that you can't get on Coinbase because they aren't registered in New York with the like New York Trade Commission and their version of the SEC, which is like the hardest. They're basically New York's really weird about, not weird, but they like have a lot of protections for stocks and things like that.
Uppity.
Especially crypto,
They're uppity.
Quite. But the thing is that like New York is also the thing that even the SEC takes its kind of lead from. So if you're registered in New York, like you're pretty much good to go for the entire US. It's almost like just fill out a form with the SEC and you're good.
Yeah.
So
Can people
that
use
might-
crypto.com in New York though, or is that just
You can't use it in New York.
no.
Yeah, remember Poodles can't.
Yeah.
I'm talking about crypto.com because he's talking about Binance and all that.
Yeah, you
Crypto.com
can't.
you can't use in New York?
No.
Uh-uh.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, so like that's what I'm trying to say. Like there's weird things that you have to be aware of, like when you're a crypto person in the U.S. because there's just stuff.
Well,
that,
just to help with a little bit of answers, we have another first timer. Elliot is here, everybody. How about that?
Hey everyone.
Hey, what's up,
Can
buddy?
you hear me?
Elliot, how you doing?
Long time
Elliot,
no
what's
see,
going on,
Elliot.
brother? You've heard some of the things that we're talking about. I don't know if you've been listening since the beginning. But,
Not since the
Dio is
beginning.
here. We've got
yeah.
we've got some things. You're an insider. You know a lot of things that you're not going to tell us, but there's some things that you might be able to help us out with. How's it going, brother?
I'm doing great. It's a bit late for me, but still tuning in. So I've heard that I want to pull up one of Brian's messages he wrote in the chat because I wasn't sure myself if whether the supply at launch will include the rebases and everything. So
Well, if you want, you could share it to my screen, and then I'll share it to everybody else as well. If you
how
go
do I
down to
do that?
present, if you go down to where it says present underneath all of our pictures here, and then you
I'll
click
just
on
send
that.
it to you in Discord, mate.
Okay, gotcha. There you go. There, I can do that. I'll just go into Discord then, and then we can see what it is that you're speaking about together.
So I'm going to clarify this tomorrow to make sure 100% that it's correct. But as far as I get it, the 375 million of initial supply is actually inclusive of the rebases that we have been getting since the pre-sale. So what that means is that the 300 million initial supply for the tokens is going to include the rebases when we launch, as well as the treasury, and it's going to so that's like the 300 million for the pre-sale is inclusive of the rebases that we're acquiring right now.
The
which I wasn't
300 million, but not the 75 million.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna clarify exactly tomorrow to get more light onto that, because I wasn't 100% sure myself, but I was able to find this message today
Yeah.
by Brian.
Yeah, this is the message that I had shown Greek as well. This is the one where in this message he does say the 75 million is a treasury pool for use, which is normal practice as far as the tax fees. But where did it say this the treasury? The initial 75 million treasury fund, yes, rebase is just the same as any.
Yeah, how I get it is if the 300 million is inclusive of the rebases that we're getting right now, what that means to me that the treasury will start rebasing only on day one, I guess, because the rebases
That's what it
now
may
they're
mean.
done,
That's right. Yeah.
because the
But
rebases
we were worried
now
about
they're
it done
done
now,
on
though, Elliot. That's
paper.
the reason. We were worried about
I
it
don't-
being now.
No, I don't think so. I think the 300 million is inclusive of the rebases that everyone is getting because they're sort of not actual rebases, but rebases on paper. And once the tokens are minted on the blockchain level, then the rebasing is switched on and everything starts rebasing at the same time. So I think the 75 million allocation is going to start rebasing when the blockchain hits the rebase function. So on the mainnet.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dio. You had a question?
Oh no, like I was just listening. That makes sense. I was wondering how that would work out. It seemed like pretty much the only way that it could, since there's like Elliot said that it was like it's all rebasing on paper right now, and then the when the blockchain goes live, the tokens are minted. So That makes sense to me.
Basically, we're going to have like a final spreadsheet or something where we can check our final numbers for the acquired rebases and the amount that we're supposed to get for the blockchain, and make sure everything is correct. And then once that's signed off and finalized, because I've been going through some inquiries of wrong amounts, and basically most of the times just people have some math wrong, and actually the numbers are correct, but I still help them out to point out where they're wrong. So we're going to have like a final spreadsheet where everyone can look the amount that they should get, like the checker, and after that it's going to be set and done.
That's great.
Do you have anything to say about what Dio was talking about earlier, though, with this, with maybe the transparency and others involved, the DAO, how people can vote, this, that, and the other? Like, what are your thoughts about that? Because I agree with Dio that I don't think we should all have as equal weight as maybe maybe you and the team members have when it comes to decisions that need to be made with this treasury.
How DAO can work as well, there could be a delegation of tokens. So for example, you as a holder can pick a person that you think is quite wise and has got his own view of how things should be done, and you can delegate your voting power to that person, so he can make that decision for you. So in terms that you don't have to do it yourself, you can delegate that power and to a responsible person.
That sounds really nice. That sounds great.
That's really cool.
That makes a lot more sense, right, Dio?
Yeah, totally. If you read like Nick Caliani's, like he's got a really good like blog post, and I'll probably just stick it up in my chat for like people who want to see it. He's got great ideas. And
if you stick it up there, I'll put it up on the screen right now.
Let me try to find it. I don't know if I have it on me right now.
Preek, maybe you'll be the guy for a lot of people that could be delegated for voting.
But he's got a good thought. He's got great thoughts on how like DAO voting and responsibilities can be done. You know, I am a survivor of the DAO apocalypse, so I have a different kind of point of view about how like treasury stuff, and especially from like being on the back end and trying to keep people from like stealing the treasury. I have like a more security point of view, where it comes to like, politics can get messy in a DAO, especially one that kind of is just like making up the rules as it goes. And the quickest, I was trying to explain that in my video yesterday, is like, one of the things that you can kind of like bet on is somebody's going to be like, I've got the most tokens, so I should have the most say.
Mm-hmm. We don't want to hear that.
And like, I've never seen it not turn into like them actually trying to like create a treasury run. Like I've just never seen it. You know what I mean? Like I've never seen that be a like actual argument for something good. Mm-hmm. So it's not that it can't. I've just never seen it. Like people don't act that way. So like those are the kinds of things where I'm like, okay, we need to have like really like we need to think this out. Like there's a lot of responsibility that comes with voting, both legal and you have a problem of like hurting your own self if you make bad votes. So there's just like, I think that I'm worried in that regard, because it's not that I don't trust the team. It's more that I just don't trust everybody in Safuu. We already ran into it when Safuu was like, I think Elliot, you had like kind of mentioned in like a offhanded, like maybe funny way, like what if we turn Safuu itself, like the token, into a DAO, and immediately everybody was like, the contract's renounced, it's a DAO, let's give away the SIFs like BNB as rewards for holding Safuu. And I was like, think about that. Like that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. Like you're giving away the liquidity that you could actually like sell your tokens into as rewards to people who are holding, who are not going to buy Safuu with it. Like, you're not going to go sit and like take that money and put it back into Safuu. You're going to use it, right? Like, you extract the liquidity. And so like, and the reason they gave for it was like, I hold the most tokens, right?
Yeah,
It was immediate. Like,
another way of rebasing, just split it up again.
right. And it was an immediate response. Like, he was like, well, I have the most tokens right now. I'm the biggest wallet holder, so I should get the most say, and this is the best idea. It's like, it's only the best idea for you. It's only the best idea for your holdings, right? It's only the best idea because you can extract all the value. So like, that's the thing that I'm worried about when I'm looking at DAOs. And I'm also like looking at just that's where I'm coming from. So like, I don't have like, I like I've said, I love DAOs, but I also like know a good amount of like what happens on the back end and how that can turn to a shit show. So
Yeah, I think we're gonna start off with a more simple model and then kind of try to build onto it, like in terms of exploring different opportunities, seeing what works better, what doesn't, and trying to perfect it to the best way we can perfect it, really, because it is a learning curve for everyone in the community that hasn't participated in the DAO, and there's just so much to explore and different paths that we can all take in terms of voting. Is it going to be one token, one voting power, which will probably be the case from beginning, but later on we can have a diminishing returns curve where the more tokens you have, the less voting power you get with each next token. So it's kind of like different models that can be implemented, as well as granting your voting power to another person, or having groups of people delegate their people to vote for them. So it's really a lot of things that can be done. But in terms of legal perspective, I think a DAO is going to help us go 10 steps forwards in terms of where we can be, what kind of partnerships we can get, in terms of what kind of investments we can get. For example, if we have a venture capitalist that wants to invest a huge amount of like $1 billion, for example, into Safuu, once it's decentralized, we can vote on it, and when we can allocate that sum from the treasury and say, okay, well, it's going to be vested over like a 5-year period, and he's going to have a certain voting power in the protocol, which is great. And it's not as hard as trying to sell a closed business in crypto. So having a DAO opens the doors for venture capitalists, partnerships, as well as just easier to go to places. No one can say like, "Oh, we heard all this FUD. It's now a community project." There's no FUD. It's going to be completely new from scratch. It's going to be our baby that we're going to build together. Really.
I think that's great. I think the thing that we really have to be concerned with, at least for us in the United States, right, like, is that like the if we use Safex as the voting token, as a governance token, we run into the problem of it becoming an equity. And if it becomes an equity, it's a security, and then we face regulation. So we face regulation on that part. So there might need to be a separate way of governing. Just as
in
far
that
as
regard,
that
there are quite a few ways that can be achieved down the line. I don't think that will be like from day one or something, but definitely something like a NFT that like includes all the voting power you have in your wallet that represents your voting power can be done, or any other workaround of that sort, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I think that one of the things that that I sort of count on is, with your concern, Dio, is there is going to be a lot of us, though. I mean, they can't like the majority overrule, even if there is somebody with that $1 billion buy-in, Elliot, that wants to make demands, or is it
Well,
that strong in a DAO when somebody has that much weight?
Well, obviously, we're not gonna sell as a community any significant portion to one
Yeah.
whale, like if it's a venture capitalist or something. And as well, we can have a vesting schedule for him, like that he gets his tokens linearly or somehow like 10% upfront, and then the other 90% over like the span of 5 years. And he can only vote with the tokens he holds.
Oh,
So
okay.
there are many ways we can um do that. Really, yeah.
I think these are great ideas. I'm glad that people are talking about them. There's like, uh, again, like I just need, like, for me, obviously, I'm like, you guys know what you're into. Like I'm cool with this. I really like this stuff, right? But also, like, I don't know how other people are gonna handle that, because it can get messy. So I'm expressing my concerns, trying to do it very respectfully, because it can, the tone, and the, like, the gravity with which, like, people need to take, the seriousness with which people need to take their, like, tones and like communication from now on needs to, like, come to a very respectable place,
Yeah, Greek.
right? Like, that is, otherwise it's just going to turns into like crazy.
Which is another very important point. So we're gonna have to educate the community and have a meaningful conversation on what each single proposal might mean, and what it's gonna do and how it's gonna impact. So there's gonna be a lot of vetting and educating done behind the scenes, as well as you, the bloggers, and the people. You talk to people all the time, and we're going to have more people that are more familiar with this model step up and share their ideas and educate people on what to do, what not to do, to make to make the decision suit everyone the best. As well as we're going to have Brian, obviously, who's going to steer us in the right direction as he always does. So
Yeah, I
Sounds
totally agree
great.
with that, man. But everybody, how about that? Look at this. For anyone that's looking to get into Safuu, this price right now is a very good price to be getting into it. 37 cents, everybody.
yeah,
Now
as far as I know,
we might get
all
down a
the
little bit
whales
lower
are
than this, but
sold.
this is still a great price, great price compared to where we're going to end up, because this is going to end up being a lot more. I mean, like, I keep on saying it, but this is going to be more than 37 cents. A lot more.
Yeah, I
I hope
think all
so.
the whales sold already, so they're like empty right now.
Yeah.
Well, the top
Oh
ones, the
darn.
selling whales, they're empty. So it's basically like close to the local bottom.
Mhm.
If we don't have just panic sellers, which most users are not, they just hold. You can see we're going sideways once the whale sold. We had a little sale yesterday, but
Yeah.
that was like 20 grand. But other than that,
The price looks great. I'm like, I'm just holding there because
and we're all still waiting for the bombshell news from Brian, right?
Yes. Yeah, we
Meow.
still have not gotten that. That's
Any
what we were
clues,
talking about
Elliot?
earlier.
Any clues?
Who knows what the price might be after that? You never
Mhm.
know. Whales might just buy back in again after the first message. They're gonna be like, "Damn, this is crazy."
Yeah. Say again, Greek.
I just want to know if Elliot has any clues he can give us.
Oh no! Other than it's to do with SFX, I have no clues. But the clues Brian gave, they're quite good ones.
And
They're
then
quite good ones.
another question, because a lot of node holders are starting to get worried. I don't know if you see a node chat, because when they don't hear anything, they left up to their own devices. They start freaking out. Any node news on when people can expect to get the next batch of nodes rolling?
Well, I'm gonna have those news tomorrow, so I'm gonna hop on a meeting with the Node guys, and I'm gonna. Well, basically, right now we have 21 nodes on the testnet. They're not all live, but it is all that is needed right now. From there, the network is going to scale. But I would just say that no one should get worried at all regarding the nodes. Regardless of anything, you're going to get all the rewards that you're supposed to get as a node holder from day one. And the setup process should be more or less automated. So we're just going to have like a file that you're going to drop into the VPS, and it's going to set up the node. So don't you worry, everything will be good.
I'm glad you said about the fees will be paid out regardless, because that is one of the worries. Everybody's like, "Oh, I'm going to get screwed." You know, they always use that word. I don't like hearing that.
Well, yeah, look, we need to scale up the network for it to facilitate all the nodes, and it's a very hard and lengthy process. So, like, even if not all 500 nodes like are live on the mainnet, yeah, there will be still a way for redistribution of rewards
Oh, cool.
to the node
That's
holders.
fantastic. Yeah.
Because that's the only thing that would make sense. If they cannot all be online for some technical purposes, because it's not as simple as just add another 100 nodes. It has to all come gradually. There should still be a way for you to receive the rewards. So everyone is messaging me like, "Can I bring my node online right now, please?" And I'm like, "Come on, just chill. You don't have to pay for the VPS if you don't have to, because it's in the test phase now." So it's going as planned. So it's going to scale at some rate, but regardless, you're going to get your rewards.
Yeah, I get asked that question daily. When's the nose? And I'm like, look at this as a blessing. The 21 people are testing it out. They're going to make the process seamless. Then when you come on, it's going to be so much easier, and you don't have to pay for your virtual machine yet. So you're saving money in the back. And
we don't need to know right now, every minute, every moment. I hold 7 nodes. I'm not freaking out. I would rather have it be late and right than rush it in, and then there's all kinds of problems.
Well, especially with everything, Ordinato, he just said that there's going to be a way to be able to pay everybody, even if you are on live first day, right? I mean, that makes it a lot easier. Exactly. We're close to 200 people watching everybody, 196 people. Here's the Dio and Elliot are here. Look at the crowd you guys draw.
When I joined.
It's like,
that's right.
Jump. Got to get
way to work it, Elliot, baby.
Yeah, Elliot joined.
Hey, Dio.
Gotta get the news.
Dio,
everyone wants some alpha.
What's up?
I wanted to ask you. So you and Star have explained this, and there's a lot of folks that are still kind of getting into Safuu that are kind of new. And I was wondering if you might have a take on, or if you like to maybe if you have a different way to explain it. But how do I say this? So you have Safuu. That's your asset up here. I'm kind of regurgitating what Star said much more eloquently than I did. But you have your asset of Safuu up here, and you've got the price at the top. Safuu is your asset at the bottom. And over time, the price goes down, right? And your rebate goes up. And at one point, they intersect.
Yeah.
A lot of folks get hung up on the price, which you kind of touched on earlier a little bit in the stream. And yeah, well, I won't say that I also didn't used to be that way. I've always thought price was important, but when Star talked about it last week, I was like, okay, I had not thought about it that way. And I know that a lot of folks struggle to get past, oh, the price is up, oh, the price is down, oh, we're all going to hell,
Right.
Do you have a way to explain perhaps, or kind of explain to folks that are maybe newer, or even day one holders like me, that are going, okay, I know that price isn't everything, and I do understand, and I've seen the action. I've seen the proof as a day one holder that my Safuu, before the rebasing stopped, it intersected and went way past it, but it did, it went way down, and I didn't freak out because I understand and trust the system. But do you have a way to maybe expand on that for folks that are maybe hung up on that at all?
Yeah.
Does that makes any sense?
Yeah, and I'll try to even make it pretty simple. Like, with an analogy. Like if you buy Ethereum, for example, you pay, I think right now it's like $1,100 for one. You're stuck with one if you don't buy anymore. So you're at the whim of the price, and the price is 1-to-1. Like if you have one thing, it's worth the amount that it's worth. And that's how most of everything financial, anything that you buy, sell, whatever, has gone on forever. Like we're geared towards that. Like we don't really understand anything but that. And so it can be really difficult for people to understand that, like, okay, there's ultimately a fixed supply of Safex. It gets up to 375 billion, right? Some of that is not ever going to be in circulation ever again. Some of it will always be in circulation when we hit max supply and the taxes stop. So the issue then comes in, like, what is that thing? Like, how do you keep that in mind, that like the price, that it's for the asset that we're in, that price and token count are actually it? Well, it's kind of like Ethereum, right? Like if it was like 1-to-1 and we started off at $9 and there was only ever going to be the, like, 70 or 90 million tokens that we started off with at the very beginning, then the price would fluctuate up and down. But because it's fractionalizing, like, there's only that amount of value left. Like, you're just kind of splitting off of the market cap. So like or shares of the market cap, like that's really kind of the way, it's a percentage of the market cap that you're getting. And your percentage is increasing as you hold longer. And the less you sell, the people who sell lose a bit when they're burning, when they pay the taxes, it gets burnt. They're losing a bit. They're gaining some value, but they're losing a bit of their holdings. So what ends up happening is that, like, your 1-to-1 is just kind of spread out broader across more tokens. And that kind of unit of tokens fluctuates at relatively the same price. So, like, if you kind of end up doing, like, I've done, like, where would be the average price if at a certain point in time, right? And like average price ends up coming out to, for sometimes, like, ends up coming out to like $12 over the course of a year, right? So like if you held for a year, every token would probably average out to about $12 a piece. Doesn't mean that it wasn't $3,000 at some point. Could be, who knows, right? We're talking about future stuff, but like the price ends up averaging out across each token to about $12 like a year later, with very low volume and very, like, low circulating supply. And that is pretty normal blockchain price, right? Like that's like it's the same thing. Like right now, AVAX is 1151, right? So like, but instead of like printing, only getting one AVAX, you're getting, who knows? It could be millions at that point of Safuu. So you've got a percentage as being in at the ground floor. You're going to have a larger percentage of the market cap the longer you hold, but that means that it fluctuates. Your whole bag fluctuates with the market cap, which means that it fluctuates with the price. And so price looks drastic, but if you take it and look at profit, which is why, like, we've been focusing on profit, which is a good calculation, would just be like, token count times price minus cost basis, right? And look at that profit curve. That profit curve is going to be way, 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 way higher than the price is, especially after July. So like, you're going to have a point, just because of the math, where it dips. Like your profit's going to dip down below the all-time high, right? Profit curve. And then a year later, it's going to be 3 or 4 times that. So like, you know, just you have to think long term. You have to look at these things long term because this is meant to be a long-term asset. Holding on the blockchain actually holds value on the blockchain, which also allows for more things to happen on the blockchain. If everybody's like scrambling to get out like right away, one, it looks bad, and two, it's just like you're not giving the chance for the blockchain itself and the like token distribution method to blossom into what it will be, which is like you're going to have the same kind of like ability and liquidity that you will have, but it's just going to it starts off small and gets large versus like it all coming in at once, which takes time to grow. Like, and price may be really low in the future, right? But you'll still have a whole bunch. Like
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like it's hard to keep two values that are fluctuating, right, in perspective as one unit. And hopefully, like, we'll be releasing something that helps people with that. So.
Thank you. Yeah.
You guys have been absolutely amazing. I mean, it's now at the end of Greek's lunch hour. I don't want you to be late, Greek. I know you got to go.
4 minutes.
And I know that you got to go too, Elliot. I know you got to go, Dio. Yeah. I don't know about you, Odonato and Crypto Pride. I could stay on for a little bit longer if you guys want me to. You know, just to talk about what you guys have given us as far as information is concerned. This is exciting, though. I think this is fantastic that we're all able to get together like this to have this kind of conversation and give this much information out in just 1 hour so far. This is fantastic.
Yeah, tons of great info.
Yeah.
Even if
Thank you, Elliot and Dio.
As long as you guys go.
Actually, I do have
something I have. Thanks for having us on.
No problem. Thank you for being on, Dio. I appreciate it, bro.
I wanted to add something on regarding the whole inflation and depreciation of the price thing. So basically, as long as we're inflating in terms of the rebases, as long as the price is depreciating at a lower rate than the inflation, means you're in profit. So we're getting, for example, 1% daily. If the price drops less than 1%, you're in profit. That's it. So right. as long as I look, as how I look at the initial 6-month APY, is that even if we don't see a huge takeoff, I think it's the best opportunity to accumulate tokens when the bull market hits, when the things start spinning off and we're actually, the initial APY stops, you're going to have a whole bunch of tokens. And your bag is going to grow significantly once there is more demand for a blockchain and the word gets out there. So I would actually rather have a slow growth during the 6 month and then a huge bull market with huge rewards redistributed to all the holders that's held throughout the 6 month, even if the token price dips. And even if your value stays the same or goes a bit lower, that would still be great because it's just a matter of time when everybody is going to know about Safex and what we are doing here.
Yeah,
it's certainty. So accumulation is key during those 6 months, really.
Absolutely.
If you can swing trade and get more tokens, please do.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Grab a big shovel and dig that.
I would add to that like you should also be thinking like, okay, July is really the place where like the blockchain starts to take off, right? Like the intro APY period is literally that. It's an intro. This is a deal, right?
Yeah.
So like when you're looking at the rest of Safuux, like you're looking at the 0.1% plus flex, right? So that's really when the blockchain takes off. And if you're in now, like your cost basis per coin at that point is around 6 cents, right? So like if the price is like at 8 cents, you're in profit. Like you don't have to worry too much. Like this first 6 months, like yeah, everybody wants to get a little bit of the taste out, like they want to, but like you have to think a little bit short term, take care of what you need to take care of, but also like really start looking at like the first 6 months is not it. The first six months is like the intro. This is the warm up. This is the thing that's like just trying to get people like, it's an advertisement campaign, essentially, right? Like the real thing starts July 20th. So keep that in mind. Like,
you know, the whole introductory APYs is to get people aboard.
Everyone that participates the first 6 months is basically a future whale. That's it. They're the future whales of the SFX blockchain.
Very true.
Do you want a dandelion flower that will grow fast but wilt soon, or do you want a freaking tree that's going to have thick roots and be around for the long term? That's just kind of. I may be thinking simple in nature, but that's how I roll.
Woody, that was great.
I love it, Dio.
I love you, man.
No, that's a great analogy, because that's the truth. When we get to the end of the 6 months and beyond that, like Dio said, especially beyond that, and like Elliot said, if you are accumulating now, after that 6 months period, forget about it. If you've accumulated properly, even if you've dollar cost averaged or you've sold dip, sold high, bought low, and you've accumulated, plus you've also held and accumulated via the accumulation from the rebases, you're sitting pretty. I mean, because like Dio said, it doesn't start really until the end of the promotional period. Looks like you got to go, Greek.
Yeah, I got to head in.
Yeah,
all right, brother.
Greek.
Pleasure.
Thanks for being here, brother.
Look forward to listening
See you,
to
Greek.
you guys still. Thanks so much.
Peace, brother.
Cheers.
Hey, Dan, if I can throw out real quick before you go, if you don't mind, real fast. So
I'm not going
everybody
right now, so you can go ahead.
Okay. It'd just be real quick. I just wanted to give an update to everyone that donated during that big live stream with the ladies and the donations for breast cancer. So we had a long story short. The money is now, it hit my fiat money is now in my account, so I can go ahead and it's gonna be between now and Friday. I'm gonna record a video showing me actually doing the actual donation so that you all can see the proof. And I'm very excited to do it. This is a real busy week for everybody. Of course, we have the big holiday coming up this coming weekend for a lot of folks around the world. So lots of things are going on in my world and your worlds too. But I just wanted to let everybody know the fiat finally hit my account. So I'm going to do it in the next couple of days, and then I'll upload it so that you all can see the fruits of that labor of that awesome stream. And thanks again to everyone who was kind enough to do it.
Thank you for that, brother. Hey, Elliot, what do you think about Safuu, the protocol? It's at 37 cents. What are your thoughts about this thing and how it's, because I haven't had you on ever. Nobody has. So we had to talk to you about this now. So what is your thoughts about this ultra deflationary? I mean, it's going down. It is going down. It's just going to keep going down. We will at some point get down to that 610,000. But the fact that we're at this point now, how it was set up, how it happened after the liquidity was taken, everyone thought it was gone. It was not going to come back. And then all of a sudden it comes back out and everyone starts buying it again. Brian does the 100% rule. Everything is being burned. And now we're here, and this other opportunity on top of Safuu X that are going to cross each other. And also now Safuu is going to have the opportunity to be a liquidity pool for Safuu X. It's incredible. All kinds of great things are happening with Safuu now that has made all kinds of people excited. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. The more successful a blockchain becomes, like, so people are going to be like, where you came from? Oh, there's this token, Safuu. What the hell is that?
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, oh, let's try that. And they see like it's actually like a little burning gold pit, really, because the more successful the blockchain becomes, the more people are going to find out about Safuu. So I think that like 90+% of people are going to join into the blockchain, not ever hearing about Safuu at all. And they're going to be interested because it has such deflationary mechanics, and it's great. Like even if you don't take it as a proper investment, it's a great game and gamble you can have, which really is buy low and sell high. And we can, like, it's a forever never ending game which you can do. You can buy now, hold for some time, sell later, then buy in again. And if everybody does it, the price just continues to grow. It's like a little bank account where people can keep their money in, and it's really interesting
A great store of value.
how that goes.
Yeah.
Currently, we have the biggest whale. He has been accumulating Safuu since the beginning, so he has like 1.7% of supply. It's 1 million something Safuu. He's gonna be a millionaire very soon.
Yeah.
Like next year for sure. He knows his stuff. He hasn't sold a single token, and he's number 3 now on the holders list. That guy just keeps buying. He doesn't care about the price. He doesn't wait for the whales to dip or anything. He just buys day and night, like there's no tomorrow, really.
Yeah, if we look at that holders list right now, this is it, everybody. And you're talking about where are we at here? This is number 4. That's the top holder too. This is the third largest holder. This guy right here.
Number 3 on the list.
Number 3 on the list is number 6
Yeah,
on
number
this list.
3.
Yeah. No, number
So
3
it's
literally.
OX,
number 3 literally.
Yeah,
Oh, this is the
OXG.
holder?
Yeah.
I think so.
goodness.
He's
Wow,
been
yeah.
buying. He's been buying all. He bought like 12 hours ago for 4 BNB. Then his biggest purchase was like on the 12th. Oh no, on the 16th, he bought like 467 BNB worth. So there was like a little price spike. That guy knows his stuff. He's just purchasing and purchasing.
Yeah, this is all of his transactions just in. These are all probably Safuu if I were to click on each one of these hashes. But yeah, I could see what you're talking about. Like you said, he just bought 12 hours ago right here. 2,293 Safuu. I mean, he's just been basically dollar cost averaging with all these purchases right here are all when like after the sacrifice and after the liquidity was taken. So he's been getting extreme deals on these Safuu purchases, man. This is incredible. You're right. Yeah, this guy.
Yeah,
Anyone have this person's mailing address? Because I want to put him on my
He's
Christmas
been
card.
buying Safuu since the beginning, and I'm not sure if it's what got him into actually Safuu, but I've seen that he had Titano in his wallet way back in the day, and I think he had Titano, yeah. So he got airdropped 0.1 Safuu or something like that, like $1 worth of Safuu some time ago, and after that, I think he got airdropped on the
263 days ago is
of
the airdrop.
March.
Mm-hmm.
He got airdropped 0.1 Safuu, and then on the same day he bought 1.5 Safuu. So
we're looking at this
guy,
as you speak about it, Elliot. We're looking at it. He did not get 1 Safuu. We got 0.0067 Safuu, everybody.
yeah,
This guy right here. And then that same day, like he said, he buys 1.48706 Safuu. And from this moment forward, Elliot, you are so right. This is such a gem. He has gone all the way from that to owning 1,067,830 Safuu. This is incredible. What a gem this is. Wow.
Wow.
From an
obviously-
airdrop right here, guys.
And that
Of
was sold, right?
0.0067 Safuu.
and
What the-
he hasn't sold a single Safuu.
Not one, Elliot. Look at this. This
He
is all
he
in.
only transferred some.
These are
Safuu to
transfers
another
right
wallet,
here.
But the wallets he transferred to, they never sold. I checked that. He's a true hardcore
Unbelievable.
whale.
What a gem. I wish Greek was on for this. Wow. Did you see this, Dio? This
Yeah.
is crazy.
I don't
This
know if
guy
we could
has
do
gone
that.
from 0.0067 Safuu to the #1 holder of 1,067,000. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I got too much ADD for that. Like, I gotta move. Like I gotta be all over the place just because like my attention.
That is
I don't have the
incredible.
patience.
Right, guys, it's
All
been a
those
pleasure to be with you on tonight.
Thank you
I've
so
gotta
much for being here,
bounce.
brother.
See you, man.
Good to see you again, Elliot.
See ya.
I
Thanks,
might
Elliot.
hop on after the bombshell news, guys.
Absolutely. Perfect. Thank you.
See
How
ya.
about that, Elliot, for the first time showing up on live stream? That was fantastic. Thank you, Antonio Dates, for the super sticker. Compton, sorry that I'm just getting to your thing. Safuu, a price prediction of Safuu X on launch day, Elliot. I see it over 300 after the week of the launch. So, you know, at $300 is going to be like from that. From like my stance now, that's the high end that we would get to if we were to get to 300, and it would only be, right, Dio? It would only be if we were going to get to that kind of a price. It would only be on that first week. I mean, like in not in general.
I mean, like in fantasy,
really
like
during the promotional period is what I'm talking about. Not after July, because we could get well above that after July, like as you said, that's when it really starts. But during the promotional period, which obviously the first week is, the only time that we could see that kind of a price is during that first week.
The first 30 days, like, is the only time you're going to see that price. And it's like, you know, it's just because of the math. It's not because it can't. Right. Like, it's not because like people won't buy it there, but like you have to realize that everything's growing by 2.093% a day. So there's more to purchase, and there's not an infinite amount of people.
Right.
So like, so yeah, 300 is very like, with a 78% fire pit, like 300 is hard. Right. I'm gonna be real. Like 300 is gonna be difficult.
I don't know if it's 78% now, though, Dio. I don't know if it's good, because that number was based on when we were coming up with it, and even when you were coming up with it, that was based on that $75 million rebasing, and we now know that might not be the case. It might be that they released on 75 million, and that puts us at 90%.
I'd have to do the math. It's possible. Yeah. So like, you know, I'm estimating at where we were before, which is we would have started out with like about 22 million tokens, about 98.6%, and then you add in the 75 million. That's, you know, let's see. Yeah, it could be around 85, 90%. It's still going to be it's still going to be difficult.
Oh yeah,
like,
no, of course. And like no matter what.
Under 95%, like under 95% price action it gets increasingly harder. Like it just does. And you know, it would be difficult to hit $300 at 98%. Like you would have some serious, like, just because people, right? Like it hits $300, it might do it for a second, and then it'll drop all the way down to like 2, and then back up to, you know, the volatility at that level is just ridiculous. And if you actually got $300 per token out, like you would be a rare person. So hey, what's up?
Hey, there goes Oliver T, everybody. Our first time ever seeing him on the channel as well. We've got a bunch of surprises here today. How about that? Oliver, how you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. How about you?
I'm great. And Oliver's been bringing up some good points about the bridge on and how that's going to work out. Crypto Pride, what are your thoughts on this, man? Because you've been talking about this a lot as well. That bridge is going to be a key function if we don't have a central exchange. That bridge is going to be something else, right?
Yes, it is. I think we're going to have a central exchange, though. I hope it's, like I said, crypto.com. Well, whoever it is, I think we're going to still have a central exchange regardless. We have actually probably have several central exchanges, but that bridge is important, like I said, to on and off ramp. Safuu X.
Do you think that if like crypto.com or whatever other central exchange, do you think if that works out, that people will not need to use like the Safuu token? Hey, Live Freedom.
Right.
She is everywhere. Yeah. How is Live Freedom everywhere?
She is everywhere. She just, I love her. She is everywhere, man. I love it.
She is amazing.
Sure. She and all the ladies of Safuu are all over the place all the time, man. I love it. Oh, my
goodness. Yeah. They're incredible.
Yeah. I mean, even Star is down here in the comments. I clicked on one of her comments earlier. Star's down there too, man. Everybody. They just make it. They're die hard. I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, anyways, that's something I was thinking about because I watched your last video, Crypto Pride, and where you were talking about how if crypto.com turns out to be like the centralized exchange we're using, and there's that Visa that we can use.
Right.
First off, I mean, if we can like cash out through crypto.com,
The game changer.
yeah, I mean, but like, how would that affect the Safuu token? You think there would still be a lot of attention going to the Safuu token?
Like Elliot was saying, there's gonna be a lot of eyes on Safuu once we launch. Once we launch the blockchain, that's gonna bring a lot of traffic as well because people are like, what is the Safuu? What is the Safuu blockchain? I think that's gonna bring a lot of attention as well.
Yeah, and then once they ask that question, they're going to realize that this token is now what it once was, inflationary. It's so deflationary. It's on its way down. Buying it now can only just mean that it's going to grow in value because of the tokens going down so rapidly. Yeah, and this is what you have been talking about the entire time, Dio. All this whole time. When we get to this point, and we are there now. Like this is without any expectation. It just happened with the snap of the fingers. Everything happened, and now we're going down in tokens for the Safuu protocol, and it's on its way down significantly, exponentially downwards. That's going to bring a lot of money into people's pockets.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm holding.
Yeah,
like I don't hold anything. Like I typically don't. Like I really don't. Like I'm pretty. I make most of the money that I make when I'm trading crypto. I make it on swings or scalps, right? And I'm not typically a diamond hander. Like, just because every time I diamond hand something, I lose. So, like, if I'm going to do any kind of diamond handing, it's to accumulate and this is always my strategy with like. Rebasing coins because they always have to transition to something, right? So that was my strategy on this is like accumulate as much Safuu as I can and get onto the blockchain.
Yes.
Like that was, and it was not to hold Safuu. Now I'm holding Safuu because it's fun, right? Like I do have a soft spot for really degen plays, and like Safuu right now is like one of the most degen. Whoever bought at 0.008, like I commend you. Like, you know what I mean?
Poodles that he did. Pretty sure Poodles had said he bought it.
Yeah, well, Poodles, you did.
I got 0.003 cent.
How about this from Mrs. Worldwide? Congratulations, Oliver, on getting married.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you. You want to see my ring that I forgot to wear?
There you go.
I gotta go back 1 second.
Nice. That was a nice little surprise you added at the end of your video, Oliver. I was like, bro, come on.
Very cool.
I didn't tell anybody. I was getting married.
It was funny though, because you're like, oh yeah, by the way, and I'm like,
people I work with, they're like, you got married?
Yeah. I thought that was funny. Don Cooley says this has been great information. I'm in the process of buying more Safuu, and Don Cooley doesn't play when he buys more Safuu. He buys a lot.
Man,
that guy's no joke.
Watch the rest of this video. I missed the first hour. Shoot.
You missed the first hour?
I did. I was having a Christmas lunch with all the workers.
Yeah.
So I just caught what I've been on so far. So
you missed life-changing information from Diogenes here, so you'll just have to rewatch it.
Man. Dio, I have a question, which maybe you can answer, because I was asking Elliot and Barry McCockiner. What determines the price of the Safuu token? Because I heard it has something to do with the liquidity pool, because everybody was saying there was a lot of confusion, let's say, because everybody was thinking that the total supply still counts because the burn wallet isn't really a burn wallet. It's like just a wallet that will never be touched. So people were trying to come up with what is actually going to drive the price up. Does every single token need to go up in value for the price to go up? And people were saying, no, just the liquidity pool is what determines it. So,
yeah.
I wanted to add to that question too, Dio, because what he's saying, and the reason why he's asking that is because I've also been asking this question. I think that wallet is like in the corner of the eye of the liquidity pool. That's the reason why I think it's not reacting the same way as if it were actually burned, because that wallet is there. It's almost like I use the analogy. Whenever a pitcher in Major League Baseball pitches and there's no one on base, he goes into an entire stretch before he releases, right? Mm-hmm. But when there's someone on base, that pitch is not anywhere close to that. He does not go into an entire stretch. He just pitches, right? Because he's worried about that. He's worried about that guy there. So is the liquidity pool looking at that wallet, despite it being a burned wallet? We know that it's not counting, but the liquidity pool is not us, right? Does it have like sort of like this programmed feeling that it's supposed to really look at that, and that's why, or is it, or does that not matter?
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Like the way that it works is just like a really simple formula, but the formula has really interesting things, right? So like you have your automated market maker formula, specifically the Uniswap formula that is used by PancakeSwap and probably will be used for WaffleSwap, is like a constant product formula. And what that means is like you have two variables, which are like, let's just call them X and Y, right? And then you have a third variable that they equal, which is K. And K is the dollar value of X times Y. And that dollar value always has to stay the same. So if I take something from X, it has to shift to Y so that K always equals the same value. And when you divide X by Y or Y by X, like that percentage shift is the percentage shift that the price changes on one side or the other of the automated market maker. So like it doesn't matter what's really in circulating supply when it comes to that. Where it matters though is that it can't, like everything in circulating supply can interact with the automated market maker. So but the stuff that's sent to like the Safuu burn wallet, like the fire pit wallet now, and on Safuux, even if it weren't a null wallet, which it will be, right? It won't ever interact with the automated market maker again, so it will never be calculated into the price. So it won't ever affect the price. It doesn't matter if it's a burn wallet or not.
Cool.
It just so it just has to do with, can it go back through that? Can the circulating supply go back through the automated market maker's algorithm? If it can, then that counts. That can potentially count towards price reduction or increase on one side or the other. If it can't, then it has no effect. So it's not like it can sit there and watch it. It's just that if it can interact, if there's a possibility that it can interact, then that's something that you have to take into account. And if there's no possibility of it interacting, then it has no effect. Really one way or the other, except that. And this is where it's hard for people to understand, like the fire pit mechanism, right? Like I was saying earlier, like the epochs that we rebase at are every 15 minutes. So while you're rebasing, like the LP is rebasing, and so every 15 minutes, the ratio between one side of the automated market maker gets lower, or the ratio gets higher on one side than the other because of rebasing. But if you're selling and burning, then you're you buy, like, let's say the best way to explain this, let's say I buy 100, and for simplicity's sake, let's stick with let's say it's 5%, right? Like I buy 100, I bought all 100, so the price has moved up, then it burns, right? So like, it's not that it burns inside of the automated market maker, it burns out of your wallet, like you're paying a tax. So like it moves the price up to where I would have got it to at 100, but then I only have 95, right? Or the other way around. When I'm going back into the automated market maker, I'm selling, I pay the tax before I sell, and then it sells. So like the price has that differential built into it because of what you've bought or sold, and then it's burned, either coming out or going back in prior to interacting with the automated market maker, so that the ratio doesn't move the price as much, if that makes sense.
It's a beautiful thing, bro. The fact that you're on is making everybody very excited. You see here, Probus Lofty says this has been one of the most, the best live streams yet. Great info coming from everyone. Congrats to Oliver T on getting married.
Thank you, Provis.
John Watson says, now we all get rich on Safuu in 2023. How do you experience guys pass on your crypto to non-crypto savvy family members if the worst happens? That's an interesting question. I mean, like, people need to do their own research, but like, if you pass on something, you better have done your research yourself if you're going to pass it on to your family member. That's the best thing I can do. I would definitely pass this on. I have tried to, but like most of us in crypto, when we tell people about something, they don't really care about it. You know what I mean? Right. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, we could try, but if they do go into it though, it's because of you. But if I tell somebody about it, it's because I strongly believe in it. I have done my own research, but then advise them the same way, right, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As far as, yeah, totally. If you're passing on crypto, like, you know, you have to be careful, like, because you have custody of it. There's no insurance for it. There's no way to keep people from losing it. Best advice is to come up with your own contraption to do it, and think through the steps. Like, what happens if I die, and somebody needs to know where the information to get
where it is,
right? Which means that they also have access to your wallet.
Yeah.
So it has to be somebody that you trust, or it has to be somebody that you can sue, like a lawyer, you know, like that your family has like there's some sort of way to get recompense if it gets stolen, or that it is somebody that, like, you know, that is going to inherit it.
You all currently must have a lot more crypto than me, because if I die, it's not going to be a big loss at the moment. So in the coming year, I fully intend it to be, but
yeah, in the coming year.
I'm with you, Oliver.
Yeah.
My wife and I have had extensive discussions about just this very subject. I mean, we already have our will. We've had it for decades, you know, and it's been adjusted over time. But we will, and like you, Oliver, I mean, you know, I'm not a whale yet, but I totally intend to be one. And if that does happen, you know, there's going to be some assets. There will be assets that are worth passing on once I'm gone, once my wife is gone. So, I mean, we already know what we're doing. I'm getting additional hardware wallets that'll all be set up. They will all be in multiple different banks in different safety deposit boxes. They are going to be behind that freaking gate, and some other things, but that's for the most part. I mean, and they're going to all have instructions.
Yeah, I was going to say, with instructions,
they can only be accessed via, you know, through the will, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Yes.
And make sure they're air gapped. That's one of the things.
I have 5 kids. I have 2 grandkids. Another one, you know, a couple more will be coming sooner or later. I mean, I want to provide for my family the best way I know how, and that's what you do.
Yeah.
Biz Entertainment says, with all your calculations, how does this affect node holders to DO? One thing I also want to talk about, just real quick, there was a question about node holders and whether or not the rebases that happen every time in our wallets, do those count as transactions? And they do not. They do not count as transactions. You will not be collecting anything as a node holder from rebases appearing in anyone's wallet. That was a question. That was a legitimate question. It's a good question, but it actually is not. And I didn't know the answer to that question. So I went to the man himself, the crypto lead, and he's the one who told me, no, you will not be getting anything from those. So anybody who has a node that is looking forward to getting, you know, the pennies on the dollar that those would give you anyway, it would probably be like micro pennies. If there was anything, you're not getting anything for that. Those are not transactions. But
internal.
What were your thoughts on that, Dio? Because he was directing that question to you about this. What did he say? Oh no, this is Andrew Avery. Says, so great. I feel like I understand a lot more. Thank you, Dio. So Dio getting a lot of love down there. This was the question about your calculations. How does it affect node holders? I guess the node holders are the ones that are going to fare the best, especially because of this. The volume is there. That's the number one thing, because it's the number one thing for the price action and anything It's all
Well,
about the volume.
Node holders are in a weird space, right? Like node holders, like here's one of the things that like having the 75 million tokens in the treasury and there potentially being a smaller fire pit than like 90% or whatever, actually really benefits node holders in token count, right? Like it not necessarily benefits the price, but in token count, because there's a higher, because there's like a potential for the price to be lower. That 5% of, like, let's say you have 1,000 tokens and they're worth $1,000 and you sell one token, like you're gonna get 5% of that to get the profit out. So like you're getting $50 in of that token is taken out, but it's like, you know, it's 0.05, right? Or it's 0.05. If you have 1,000 tokens and it's worth $1 a piece, then that 5% is taken out, and you're still going to get $950 out of it, but your token count goes down, right? So like the token count now is like 5% of 1,000. So you take 50 tokens out. Those 50 tokens get spread around to the node holders in the form of like gas fees and all that stuff, right? So the tax structure like gets burned, goes into the flex rate, like there's a larger percentage of things that get taken out. Now, as far as like the tax pool stuff that's in the like in the spreadsheet that is on the Safex website, like I don't think that those tax pools are necessarily there. I think that it's just kind of using that to calculate like what the gas fees would be and how that all would come out. I'm still unclear about it. I'm waiting for more clarity on how that's all calculated, because the calculator and the spreadsheet end up coming up with like pretty much the same values if you put in the same things. So I'm guessing that it's all this, like it's all just kind of like a way to calculate out the like spread from stuff. But as far as like a good analogy, I can't be super accurate about all that, but as far as a good analogy goes, like that's kind of like how it works. Like there's more gas for more tokens and more, like, you know, there's just like more stuff that happens at a lower price because there's more that has to transact on the blockchain. Whereas like a higher price, you know, people sell less, they don't buy as much. All of those things come into play. So lower price and a lower price and a lower fire pit kind of like is a good thing for node holders over the long term, because you'll be accumulating more tokens. Whereas like, and then the price will move up from there. Whereas like for people who are just holding, like the price going down is going to be, people are going to be like, oh my God, the price is going down, and they're still not looking at their profit. Like, which is like what I've been like.
Yeah. So anybody that's asking questions also that has asked questions about the development of any developments with the nodes, we have to get that software put in. Still, all those things still haven't happened for anybody that cares, that is a node holder. You will get paid your proper amount. Elliot was on earlier. For those who are just joining us, he did say that if there is if there's anybody late getting on, as far as because there is no development yet, and we need to get the nodes on. If they're not live right away, there will be a way to be able to get people their money later on after. But this has been absolutely spectacular. This entire stream, I wanted to thank everybody for coming on. Dio, Oliver, Crypto Pride, of course, and then Odonato. Just 10 or 15 seconds from each of you just to finish up. Pride, go ahead with we're gonna wrap this up, but just tell everybody some inspirational words like you can do.
Well, guys, you heard it here. The node holders, don't be right anymore. You're still gonna get your rebases. You're still gonna get part of the, you know, the rewards, even though you don't have your node online. So you don't worry about that. So you're gonna, like Elliot said, save your money, because you don't have to worry about getting the VPN right now, but you still get a chance to take in the rewards as a team. They're gonna divvy it up between all the node holders. And the DO told you guys just to wait, hold your Safuu. Hold your Safuu X until after the introductory period, 8 months introductory period, because that's when things are gonna start taking off. And the long holders, the longer you hold, those are gonna be the whales in the future.
Oh,
Yeah,
shoot.
and Odin, Dio, that's because the other side of the J curve could potentially be massive, right? That's the reason why you say that.
Yeah, like it's more of just like you have to start thinking about like price and profit, right? Like if you've got 3 million tokens, if you start off with, let's say you start, like I'm going to start off with probably around 9,000 tokens on January 20th, right? Just to like somewhere around there. I don't know the actual number right now because I'm not looking at it, but like, you know, by the time it gets to July, it'll be like 300,000 tokens, right? Like let's say it's at 7 cents. Worst case scenario is at 7 cents, right? Like I've still got the same amount of money that I had on January 20th. Right. And then up from there, like it's almost kind of like it seems from what I'm looking at, and I don't want to say it's a mathematical impossibility that it can go lower, that it can't go lower, because it could go lower, right? People freak out. We saw this on Safuu, right? People freak out and start selling, right? But let's say, for all intents and purposes, it's probably going to go up, like more often than not, which means that like now I'm at 300,000 tokens in July. I double that, and then 38. I'll make 38% of that in a year after. So another like, you know, 100,000 tokens. And by that time, the price will probably be in like the $8 to $10 range.
But
right?
Dio,
Like, you know, like that's just
crazy.
Like you know what I mean? Like it's like you gotta think this is why this like understanding the mechanics and the curves and things like that is really important, because even if it doesn't ever go back up to $300 a token, which is what people are kind of like hoping for, right? I'll take
$10,
right, like I'll take $8, right? Like you all got out
you were
at,
able to accumulate from what you say, like 9,000 to now 300,000, and then 38% later you're at 420,000,
right?
and
Times
now
10.
it's worth $9. That's a lot better than $300 for 9,000 tokens, right? Like that's a lot better.
Right, and that's the thing is like even at like, and it's like what people want to sell on the first day. It's like, man, just wait 5 days. You know what I mean? Like wait 5 days. Like wait 5 days. Wait 15 days. Get at least half. You know, like a little bit more. Like the mentality. Like you're still thinking about this like Ethereum. It's not. You're still thinking about this like a stock, and it's not. You're still thinking about like you have a different variable that you have to think about, and that's time.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things where like time in the market actually can multiply, instead of it being like time in the market gets you more of a percentage in the year. It's like time in the market gets you way more than that. Like, but it also comes with more risk. So you have to watch your profit, not your price. Like I'll say that. I don't even like, this is why I'm hesitant about giving price predictions now, because like everybody's like listening to what I'm saying about price, and I've been trying to focus, like show everybody like you can predict price, right? Like it's pretty easy on a rebasing token to predict the price, but you like can't predict, and from that predict your profit. But if you look at how the curve works, like if I were to draw it very simply, like I'll find a piece of paper here, but like
Sebastian, have it.
yeah, so like the curve, if in the most simplest way, you're going to see this as your profit curve, not the price curve, but you'll see the profit curve. Like, come on, let's use a pencil. Profit curve is going to go like this, and price curve, I'll label it.
This is like gold information for everybody. I'm telling you. 190 people watching. We've held around 200 people the entire show.
I can share my
Absolutely
screen.
fantastic.
Let me see if I can show you share my screen when I got the thing on here.
All right, just put it up there.
You'll see. Where are we at? There we go.
Hold
You'll
on.
see
Brian.
that
You see it? You got it?
the profit curve. The profit curve will go like this, right? The price curve will probably go like this. It'll go up and then down and then start to go up a little.
Can you see it?
You see the major difference between
I can still
the
see it,
two?
Brian. Hold on. Go ahead, Dio.
You see the major difference between the two? The price doesn't have to move at all, hardly.
Right.
Later.
Yeah.
Like the profit curve just goes through the roof. And so you can't think about this as price. Like price really is nothing. Like price is half of the equation. And when you're like the price, it's like price and token count. Like this right here is what everybody's chasing. This is dumb. Like chasing this top right here is dumb. If you're going to do anything, take a little bit there just to hold you over to here. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not like that. Taking that and getting out is just like you're screwing yourself out of like way more.
And this is a little tiny thing, and I want everybody to remember though. But it's something that we all got to remember. Time flies, man. I mean, time flies. We are going to be here in another year, right at this moment, right now, in exactly 365 days, looking at something completely different than what's going to happen on January 20th, in March, in June, and then in July, especially what's going to be in July. Because after July, at this moment, we will be 5 months after the promotional period. And then what's price going to be like? And if you're still holding, not most of it, you could hold most of it. You could sell, but like what Dio was just showing you though, if you're still holding and you're on that other side of the J curve that he just showed, because he just held up that piece of paper. Show it again, Dio. Show it again. If you look
like,
at this,
sure.
what is this right here on the right side of the screen? That's the J side, the other side of the J curve. What is that? Where is that? It's a lot higher. It could potentially be a lot higher for people if you hold and you do it the right way.
Well, like that, but you have to understand, again, I'm not saying that the price goes up hardly at all. Like, look at that. Like the price goes up and everybody's chasing that, right? But what you should be chasing is this, which is the profit curve. The price barely goes up, but because you're accumulating tokens, over here is your profit. Like,
which is what we were talking about earlier when you were talking about you have 9,000 now, but in 1 year from now, you could potentially have 400,000 tokens. So that's a huge difference. And at $400,000 at $9, if it goes back to $9 after going down in July to 7 cents, well, darn, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that you could potentially be taking as profit, which is what the illustration, although it was on a piece of paper with a pencil, that's what he was showing us.
So Dio, you're saying that holding is going to work better in Safex than it did in Safuu, right? Because a lot of people, a lot of people held, and there was all that FUD at the end that made that price just plummet. I'm counting on the price coming back up at some point, because the more projects we get, the more volume we get. A blockchain acts a lot different than a token.
It does. And all we have really to go on is like all of the different attempts to do something similar, right? And they all have a similar curve. Even in the US dollar has the same curve, right? Like it's up and then over and then down, right? Like because the dollar rebases essentially, but not for us. It rebases for the banks. So
but wait, let me explain something though, Dio. There's a different side to this. The reason why, Oliver, that it's going to be more beneficial to hold with the blockchain is because we are starting with, and Diogenes, everybody knows, we're starting with a 90% fire pit. So that means that where we started with Safuu, right? Everybody has to understand this. We started with zero, nothing. The only reason why we're so deflationary now is because all of this liquidity was sold. There was a whole big change, everything. Now we're deflationary. But it would have taken otherwise months, maybe even years and years before we got to even 50% if that had not happened. Now, what's going to happen here is a whole different story. In July, we're still going to be over 90%. And then we're going to enter the deflationary period in July, which changes everything. That's the reason why. This is a different story. It's a different animal. It was built differently because the foundation was different than the first one. And the foundation in this one is much stronger.
Question about July. because I made a video where I was saying I wonder what the price will do in July when the APY goes down to 38% instead of the 190,000%. And then Biz reminded me of the fixed flex. Is the fixed flex minting tokens, or is it giving us tokens that already exist?
The fixed part is minting. The flex part comes from the taxes on the
volume.
buys and sells on the volume. So while the supply is still increasing at 0.1% a day, all of the like taxes, that 1% in the taxes is being redistributed to every holder, which at that point, like we should, because the price will be low, right? Like that means more tokens will be distributed out, and which will cause people to like free money. What do people do with free money? They spend it. And what happens there? Like it could go down a little lower, right? Because people are getting free money. But then what will happen is it'll, because of like people who are smart, the people who've been in Safuu before are going to be the ones to be like, well, just wait till you guys are all like done spending your money for free money. And now I've got it all. Right? Like there's a bit of game theory. Like you have to be like, this has a lot of like chess in it. It's got a lot of like strategy that you have to think about. And like, you know, if you're smart about how you move through this token and through this blockchain, like it becomes fun. If you don't understand the rules, like, and you're playing a game that you don't understand the rules, it's never fun, right? Like, but part of understanding the rules is actually like sitting down and learning them. And if you're not going to sit down and learn them, like, good luck. Like, I'll play chess against you all day, especially if I'm taking your money, right? Like, you know, like I don't even have to be a good chess player to play against a person who doesn't know how to play, and they're willing to bet me, and they're also not willing to learn the rules, right? Like, and that's the thing that people, it's like, it's on you. It's on everybody who's watching to start to educate themselves. Like, and it's, you know, at some point, like, I'm not going to want to answer the questions anymore. Like, you know, I'm getting to that point anyways, because I'm like, I've been saying this for months. Like, you can go read everything. Like, it's all there.
Yeah.
On that note, Dan, mind if I address a comment or two that are in the
Go
comments
ahead,
there?
brother.
Just real quick. I know we needed to go, but after I mentioned, you know, getting a will, you know, to take care of that, alluding to that, or, you know, answering that question that other nice person had earlier about, you know, what if the worst happened, right? Which eventually happens to all of us. And I said, you know, I alluded to just on a high level, you know, get a couple of hardware wallets, put them in a safe deposit box, etc. Then a couple of comments came in that I'd like to address that said, you know, like, definitely not putting it in a bank. That's like giving it to a thief to hold it for you. Well, number one, I'm not an idiot. I've been on this earth for over half a century. I think I've done a pretty good job, and I didn't say anything about putting my money in the bank. So, you know, I realized that those comments maybe were not intended to be rude, but they do come across that way. And I just like to say I do have a thick skin, but I would like to address them by saying, you know, try to think about it, because, you know, I take financial advice from those that are more intelligent than me and have more money than me. So that's the way I've always tried to live my life. And that is actually something that somebody who I know that is worth a butt ton of cash, has done for themselves. And I follow their lead. So I just figured I'd just kind of mention that, you know, I'm not stupid. Yeah, banks aren't the best places in the world to hold money. That's for sure. We all know that. That kind of goes without saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just had to address those, Dan, because, you know, yeah, I understand.
Well, while you're at it, why don't you wrap it up with your final thoughts as well?
Right on. I love you, Dan. You're the man.
Love you too, brother.
Chicks dig it, guys want to be it. It's all about you. I just wanted to thank you for having me on. Great to be on with Pride and Oliver and Dio and Elliot earlier. It's really great. And, you know, keep an eye out for my video coming out towards the end of this week, where I'm going to go ahead and show everyone I'm going to do the donation. So the big whopping donation.
That'll be fun, yeah.
Contributed to. Yeah, That'll be a lot of fun. So thanks again for everybody's love and support. Appreciate it.
Zeno says, let's get Dio and Star often here to educate us and be good diamond heads. That is the plan. On top of that, watch for Dio to be able to whenever he comes out with his own videos, he has his own channel that he does, like yesterday, and also join him on the Discord. What is your Discord that you'd like people to go to, Diogenes?
That's OX or 0xPA. That's where we're working on our DAT for Safex to help people track their profits.
There you go. That's a great project that's going to definitely help a lot of people. Oliver T, your final thoughts, my brother.
All right. Well, Daniel, I just want to thank you because I know you've been working hard to get me on here, and I really appreciate that. And the whole Safuu community is just incredibly supportive. And I'm just a tiny little channel, and I'm like a pretty quiet guy, and I appreciate all the nice comments I've gotten from everyone. So just thank you for all the support, everybody, and the love, and it's been a lot of fun being here with you guys and kind of asking you guys direct questions, because I think all of you know a lot more than I do. So I've really benefited a lot from this, and I can assure you I'm going to watch the first hour of this once I get off of here.
Yes, please do.
Thank you again, Daniel, and thank you everybody, Dio and Pride and Odonato. Thank you guys for answering my questions and whatnot. I appreciate it.
And just for the heck of it, real quick, just tell something to the people in French, just because you can.
Ok. Je vais améliorer mon français bientôt et je vais essayer de pas chercher mes mots tellement. Comme ça, je peux parler un petit peu plus vite dans mes vidéos. Okay.
There you go. Beautiful.
I know, right? That's what I was going to say.
People who watch
You took the words out of my mouth.
They know what I'm talking about.
You're no fun, Ollie.
I love it.
My goodness. Dio, everybody was on. They were excited to see you here, brother. What's your final words for the crowd watching and everyone in the comments?
The coming days are going to be fun and tricky. Stay respectful, especially with the team. Stay respectful with people who are who don't really understand what's going on, and also make the best decisions for yourself first, and then make the decisions for other people that will help other people after. Like everybody needs to stay on their own thing, and then help if it can help, let it help. So
thank you, everybody. I'm gonna have to bring it up myself because nobody else did. I'm wearing the Safuu Racing shirt, everybody.
Oh no, I noticed it, bro.
Nobody said anything about it.
I totally noticed that.
I said it for everybody.
Warning that. No, I noticed that right from the jump.
I loved it, bro. It's a beautiful thing. Thanks everybody for being here. Go ahead, Donato.
Oh, I was just going to say, if you had brought that to Dubai, you might not have gone home with it.
Well, they have them on Safuu Racing's website if you guys want to buy them. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.